we've learned that there was a terrorist attack in Moscow, and Medvedev has said that if Ukrainian officials were involved in these terrorist attacks, they will be mercilessly destroyed. And do you find this terrorist attack as the same as we have been witnessing during this conflict with Daria Dugina? Do you see this as a terrorist attack linked to Ukrainians?
I think it's highly likely that it is Ukraine for one reason. Within an hour, hour and a half of this incident happening, the U.S. State Department came out and issued the following. They said, this was not Ukraine. How in the hell do they know that? Think about it. We still don't know what particular types of weapons and explosives were used in the attack. We don't know how many attackers there were. We still don't know how many were killed and wounded. And yet the State Department knows that it was not Ukraine. So earlier today, maybe it was late last night, there is one of, I call it the CIA-sponsored open source intelligence propaganda site, OSINT Defender. You know, they've always been sort of a mouthpiece for the intelligence community. They put out the following. Members, and I'm quoting now, members of U.S. National Security Council and the White House have reportedly started to become increasingly frustrated by, quote, unauthorized brazen actions, end quote, taken by Ukraine against Russia, including the recent campaign of long-range drone strikes having targeted at least 25, and it goes on. Well, the fact that that's getting put out now through this CIA front, that's what I believe it is a sign that the wheels are coming off the policy in Ukraine. That I think it is highly likely that the Ukrainian intelligence sources or affiliates carried this attack out in Moscow. They may have been previously trained by the United States, particularly by the CIA, may have had prior association with the CIA. But you know, we've got one more problem here. On March 7th, just a little over 2 weeks ago, the U.S. Embassy in Moscow and the British Embassy in Moscow both put out warnings to their citizens to say, stay away from public places in Moscow. There's going to be terrorist attacks. Stay away from concerts. And Maria Zakharova, the press spokeswoman for the foreign ministry, the Russian foreign ministry, she said on March 8th, if there is a terrorist attack, we're going to hold Washington and London responsible, that they will have been seen as involved with it. So that's what makes this so very, very serious. This has now the potential to really spin out of control and to escalate beyond anything that we've seen. At a minimum, if the Russians are going to have to first prove that who the culprits were and determine did they or did they not have any ties to Ukraine. It's just I'm fascinated by this one report leaking saying that the Biden White House and National Security team are really worried about Ukraine brazen acts, that they're taking these unauthorized acts that aren't approved by the West. 2 weeks on the heels of this warning. Now, understand one thing about these warnings.